It's time to tear up the permission slip. You don't need anyone's permission to live fully, to live boldly, to lead boldly, to choose you. It is time to tear up the permission slip because fun, freedom, success, peace, it's already yours. So stop waiting. Tear up the permission slip. I have lived most of my life, too much of my life, if I'm honest, in a permission based system. I have lived as a child under the authority of parents whom I had to ask permission to do things from, right? And that's a normal thing where children ask their parents for permission to do certain things. And then in school, I asked for permission to do things in school. And then I went on and I got a job where I had to ask permission to do certain things. And so my whole life had been shaped by this idea that I needed to ask permission. I needed to ask permission to show up as a particular version of myself. And so because I thought that asking permission required me to alter my identity, I didn't show up fully as me. Now, I don't know, but if you are anything like me, then you have struggled with this too. You have struggled with showing up as a version of yourself that you can appreciate, as a version of yourself that you feel good about, as a version of yourself that you want to celebrate because you have appeased so many people, because you have lived in a permission-based system. Typically, women are socialized to live in a way where they are pleasing to all the people around them, but yet inside they are dying. I'm going to say that again. Women are socialized to live in a way where they are pleasing to everybody around them, but yet inside they are dying. They're dying to say the thing that they know they need to say that's going to get them the thing that they know that they desire the most, but yet they fail to do it because they are afraid of what other people will think about them. They want permission to show up boldly. They want permission to use their voice. They want permission to be creative. And if you continue to seek permission, you will continue to feel like you are unfulfilled. For so long, I was unfulfilled because I took my cue from other people. And there are still moments in my life where I have to get myself together and say, Shiteria, what is it that you want? What is it that you desire? What's the thing that you want to do? Because if I don't check me, I find myself doing things that other people want me to do, going places other people want me to go, instead of sticking to the things that I desire. And one thing that I am intentional about as a mother is making sure my daughter doesn't feel like she has to appease me in any way because it's something that I desire that's going to cause her to be less of herself. I've worked really hard to give her the space to have a voice, for her to articulate her feelings, for her to have conversation with me about who she is. Because so often when we are little, our identities are shaped and we take on the personalities and traits of those who are leading us, those who are parenting us. And as a little person, you don't really get to come into the fullness of the personality that you carry if you're so focused on gaining access to permission slips. Now, I want you to leave me a comment in the comment section if you have been so used to asking for permission to rest, permission to have fun, permission to be present as a parent and to be ambitious. Like, what have you been asking for permission for that you don't even know you're asking for permission for? Let me tell you, I remember I would have conversations with my boss and he would say he wanted me to just tell him what I was doing. But then when I would tell him what I was doing, he would want to alter what I was doing. And so often we are connected to people who will alter what we want done if we don't use our voice to articulate that this is the ground that I'm standing on. This is where I'm firm in. And I'm not moving off this mark. Now, that does not mean that you can't communicate and come to a solid ground, but so often we get pushed off of the desires we have because we are appeasing other people. If you have been a people pleaser, I want you to write people pleaser. I want you to write people pleasing ends today in the comment section, because you weren't created to be a people pleaser. You were actually created to go up against the status quo, to break up some things that have been done the same way over and over and over again. You're not this cookie cutter person who just follows the things that were done before you, but you have your own ideas, you have your own way of doing things, you have your own systems. But yet, if you don't come into the full knowledge of who you are, you will fail to show up that way. Your creativity will die. You'll be captive in places that you didn't even know you were imprisoned in. One of the first things I did after I quit my job and started working for myself was I colored this picture. And it's a picture of a cat, and I take it with me, not everywhere, but a lot of places. It's this picture of a cat. And for the very first time when I was coloring, I realized I could color this cat however I want to color her. I get to decide if this cat is a girl or a boy. I get to decide if the cat's fur is going to be multicolored. I don't have to just color it one way. Even if the picture doesn't have spots on it, I get to decide what the fur of this cat is going to look like, because I am the person with the crayon in my hand. I don't need permission to color this cat the way I'm going to color it. And so that was my first cue to tear up the permission slip. When I got that picture of that cat and I colored it how I desired to color it, I designed it the way I thought it should look as a cat, even though it was printed on the paper in a particular way. I took my creativity, I took my thought pattern in connection to that cat, and I made that cat look like I desired it to make. And one thing I would always tell my daughter when we would color pictures together, I tell her, your picture doesn't have to look like my picture. You can do whatever you want to do on this picture. And it challenges her to think her own thoughts. It challenges her to pull from her realm of creativity, knowing that our pictures don't have to look the same. Knowing that she can put shadows on the picture where she wants to put shadows, where she could put pops of color on the picture, where she can add a sun, she could put birds, she could do whatever she wants to the picture because it's hers. This life that you are living is yours. But are you living it as if it's your life, or are you living it as if it's someone else's life? Have you been locked in a prison where you are allowing other people's standards to be your standards? Have you been allowing people to hand you permission slips concerning what needs to be done in your life? One thing I took off the table for other people was when they would tell me to rest and how I would rest. So for a long time, I had the tendency to be this performance-based woman, and I would work my butt off. Now, that does not mean I'm not diligent in my business, because the Bible says that a diligent man will be made fat, right? So I am diligent in my doings, but one thing that I had to determine is that I would not be performance-based in what I did. And so in deciding this, that meant I had to sit down at some point. And with being performance-based, I would work Sunday through Saturday, period. I didn't give myself time to rest. I didn't give myself time to recover. I didn't give myself time to appreciate. And so one thing that I did was on Saturdays, I do absolutely nothing. It is my time to rest. It's my time to recover. It is my time just to be. I appreciate God on that day. I appreciate the life that I have. And then it allows me to show up better on Sunday through Friday, right? Like it gives me just this time to break away from everything. And when I first started to step away on Saturdays, it was weird for people. So they'd be like, it wasn't weird for me. Well, kind of it was weird for me because I had never done it, but I needed it. And they'd be like, well, can you just come hang out with us on this Saturday and maybe not do it next Saturday? I'm like, you are in violation of my rest. Okay, you are trying to violate my rest, and I have been a reformed people pleaser. So the answer is no. I'm going to rest on this day. I know that people have parties and they have events on Saturday, and I just won't be there, and I'm okay with that. Why am I okay? Why am I okay with that? Because I need space to think. I need space to recover. I need space to show up for me. And so on Saturday, I take that space. On Saturday, I take that time because I am showing up for so many other people Sunday through Friday that I just need space for me. And in doing that, it has changed the way I interact with people. Because when somebody tries to cross that boundary, because it is a clear boundary that I have laid out, I can prevent them from crossing that boundary. Now, if I want that boundary to be crossed because an emergency has happened or something along those lines, I'm okay with removing that boundary, but it's a decision that I make actively and not passively. I have learned the difference between passively going through life because I have lived my life passively, okay? And I've learned the difference between passively going through life and actively going through life. And in actively going through life, I actively decide, it is at the very forefront of my mind to say, I'm going to remove that border. I'm going to remove that boundary. And here's the reason why. When you live your life looking for permission from other people to show up as you, you have no borders, you have no boundaries. There is no clear demarcation in the sand. And what intentional rest did for me was it taught me how to put clear demarcations in the sand. It taught me how to say no and be okay with people not being pleased with my no response. Right? It helped me to develop a comfort level with being okay with having borders and boundaries that people could not cross. Do you have borders and boundaries in place in your life that people cannot cross? Don't worry, I'll wait. If you don't have borders and boundaries in your life that people cannot cross, you are living your life seeking permission from other people. You are living your life appeasing other people around you. But when you are clear that it is the borders and boundaries that help to protect you, which helps to solidify the relationships that you have, what helps you to build in every other area of your life, then you will freely put down borders and you will freely put down boundaries because you know that they are beneficial. Borders and boundaries are beneficial to the building of your life. But when you refuse to have borders and boundaries in place, when you refuse to live your life as someone who intentionally knows that you are setting yourself up for success, you leave yourself open to exhaustion. You leave yourself open to financial defeat. You leave yourself open to be depleted. You leave yourself open to mental exhaustion and mental attacks because you have not placed the borders and boundaries that are necessary in order for you to see success. You have not said, I'm going to live my life intentionally. I'm going to live boldly. I'm going to live freely. And I'm going to live as someone who knows that I don't have to please everybody. Your borders and your boundaries will not please everybody. And every time you enforce a border and every time you enforce a boundary, it builds your confidence in you. It builds your identity in you. And why do you need to have confidence in you? And why do you have to have an identity that is sure and stable? You need confidence and you need a secure identity because it allows you to withstand the hardships that you are going to experience. It allows you to see obstacles and have a perspective that you can tunnel through them. You can go across them. You can remove them out of the way. But when you have no borders, when you have no boundaries, when you are constantly asking for permission, you are weakened. You are often appeasing people and never achieving at the level that you are capable of because you are so used to other people cutting you off. It's time to tear up the permission slip. And as you tear up the permission slip, you get to design your life. You get to put safety measures in place that's going to reinforce who you are. That's going to clear up and clean out any debris that has been in your life that is blocking the true flow of who you are. In this season, you have got to go through and examine the permission slips that you have stacked up, piled up, that you have waiting to go out to get signed. And as you do that, as you evaluate and you tear those bad boys up, you're going to see changes in your relationships. You're going to see changes in your finances. You are going to see changes in how you feel about yourself. So I want you to examine the permission slips you have in your life. And I want you to rip up anything that is not serving you. It's okay to change. See, one of the permission slips that we take on in our lives is where we think that we cannot change. We don't have the ability to change, or changing will cause us to displease somebody else. When I was little, people would write in yearbooks, "Don't ever change." Oh, you fake if you change. And so sometimes those words get coded in the depths of our soul. And the reason we don't like change is because we've been told that when we change, it's a problem. So we like, hands off. I'm not changing. I'm not going to be no fake friend. I'm not going to be no fake person. Nobody's going to call me phony. You are letting a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old rule your life. The brain of a child is not developed until they're about 25 years old. So that person saying, "Don't ever change," did not have a fully developed brain, and they could not fully articulate what they really desired in that moment. What they wanted was somebody who was going to validate them. What they wanted was somebody who was going to have empathy for them. What they wanted was someone who was going to be consistent for them. They weren't really seeking someone who did not change, because if they understood what the implications of not changing meant, then they would see how detrimental it was. That phrase, when not properly used, can cause dysfunction in the lives of people. And so if you have been allowing the phrase "don't ever change" to rule you, I need you to tear that up. You have to come out of the state of mind that you were in when you received the information about what change would do to you, or what change would do to the relationships that you were connected to. And you have to be willing to put up borders, and you have to be willing to put up boundaries that are going to build some safety in your life, that are going to position you for your next level. And so, if this video blessed you, I want you to write blessings in the comment section. This is not, a touchy-feely fun video, but it's a necessary one. And so I want you to go back, rewatch this video, put some things into place, because you need some borders and boundaries that are going to help you to elevate. I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye for now.